Hi, pre-K, are you guys ready to do a fun science experiment? We are going to go around our houses, find some objects that we can put in water, and test whether they sink or they float. And we are going to keep track on our data sheets. Okay, so I'll attach a data sheet to yours, but I just made one. It says float or sink. And I'm going to keep track of everything I test and see whether it floats or sinks and see which I have more of. So, what you're going to need is something to hold water. I'm using this bowl. You could use a bowl. You could use your cereal bowl. You could use a cup. You could use your sink. You could use your bathtub. You just need something to hold water in, okay? And then you're going to go around your house and find some objects to test. I have some ideas for you if you need help. You could test a cotton ball, a crayon, a rubber band, a leaf, a stick, a blade of grass, a spoon, a Lego, a rock, a pencil, a piece of paper, paper clip, a feather, a sponge, a coin, a button, a pine cone. Try and find at least 5 things to test in your water to see if they sink or float, okay? So, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is test this button. What do you think? Do you think it'll sink or do you think it'll float? Let's find out. I'm going to put it in the water. Are you ready? It sank! Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my pen and on my this where it says sink, I'm going to put a button. I'm just going to draw a picture of a button under sink. Okay. Or you could just put a tally mark for one object that sank, or you could spell out button and sound it out how to spell it. Okay. The next object I have is a rubber band. Do you think it's going to sink or float? Let's find out. Okay, I'm going to put it in. What's it doing? It's floating. So, under float, with the F, I'm going to draw a picture of a rubber band. Or you could put a tally, or you could sound out rubber band. That's my rubber band. Okay. Next, I'm going to test a quarter. Do you think it's going to sink? Or do you think it's going to float? Okay, let's try it out. I'll put it in really flat. Oh, it sank. It sank very quickly. So under sink, I'm going to put a quarter. Okay, next I have a feather that I found in my house. Do you think it's going to sink or do you think it's going to float? Okay, let's test it out. Ready? What's it doing? It's floating. So under float, I'm going to draw a feather. Let's see. That's my feather. Or you could put a tally mark, or you could sound out feather. Okay, next I have a rock. Do you think it's going to sink or do you think it's going to float? Let's find out. It sinks. So under my sink side, I'm going to draw a picture of a rock. That's my rock. Here we go. I'm going to pull it out. Okay, next I'm going to try a spoon. Do you think it's going to sink or do you think it's going to float? Let's test it. Oh, it sank. So under my sink side on my data sheet, I'm going to draw a spoon. Okay. Now, next I have an orange, a mandarin orange. Do you think it's going to sink or do you think it's going to float? Let's test it. Ooh, what's it doing? It's floating. Floating along on the surface. Pull it a little closer so you guys can see. Okay, so mandarin orange goes under the float page. So I'm keeping track of all my stuff on my data sheet. So as you go around and test what sinks and what floats, keep track of it on your data sheet and let us know what you find out. Okay, have fun.